Okay, can you hear me now, guys? Gonna check. Right, can you still hear me? I'll just unplug something because I'm trying to put another microphone in, but then I'm going to get two microphones. So fingers crossed you can still hear me. Cool, that's fine. Okay. Oh no, you've lost me. Oh, this has gone pants, man. What's going on now then? Oh, hold on. I need to... There's obviously a different button I've got to click from the loading screen to this one. Although you can't hear me, so I'm just talking to myself. Right, fingers crossed. You might be able to hear me in a few seconds' time. Right, let's try that one as well. So what I was saying, but you wouldn't have heard it, is whenever I do talk, there's a big delay. Just adjusting the volume now, so again, bear with me. When I get this sorted, it'll make it so much easier the next time I do this. Yeah, so the problem I have, like I was saying before, no one obviously heard, is when I am doing live streams, there's about a 15-second delay between me talking and you hearing me. So when I'm testing it out, I've got to say something and then wait 15 seconds. And then obviously if nothing happens, I've then got to say something and wait another 15 seconds. But fingers crossed. Well, I've turned the volumes right down now. I will do some painting soon. Right, so again, I'm adjusting the volume on this, but again, this is where it's so difficult when you first set these up. I've got to wait 15 seconds, but I've got to talk and wait 15 seconds for me to be able to hear what I just said 15 seconds ago. So let's see how that's sounding. Yeah, it sounds very echoey, doesn't it? Right. I've got a cheap little microphone. I'm going to plug this in because this should sound better if I can get it to work. Yeah, because my plan was I was going to do a live stream on Tuesday. Oh, well, I'm going to plug this in. So yes, my plan was to do it on Tuesday and obviously have a lot more time to set things up. But then I sort of had an hour free now, so I thought I'd get things set up now. And then I'll be able to obviously, come Tuesday, just push a button and be able to do this a lot easier. Right, so let's knock off the webcam microphones. Right, I've gone back to the... Oh, why is it not working? The thing is that it's almost simple, as in there's not many things to click on. It's just finding the right things to click on. Clearly I'm not. Right, hello, hello. Right, audio. But the problem I'm having now is I can get some volume on the webcam. It just doesn't sound very nice. Right, is that the one? Right, fingers crossed I have clicked the right button now for the other little microphone. Because if I have, it'll sound a lot better. Again, I've got to talk and then wait 15 seconds. Right, we're going to go with that for a little while. I'm just going to sort of do what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk. I'm going to check the chat, so you guys let me know if that sounds better. So I've got a little microphone, and hopefully the sound is better than, well, than the webcams that I've got. So let's pump that up, and again, so this I've got to talk, obviously that's the hardest thing, is I've got to talk almost to myself, because obviously at the moment I'm not reading any of the comments, because obviously I want to try and get the sound to work. So I have to talk and then wait and then see how that sounds. Yeah, because as I say, it's about a 15-second delay, and whatever I'm doing to you seeing it and hearing me is quite a delay. Right, that doesn't sound too bad now. How's that sound, guys? And I think what we'll do as well, we'll turn the music off. It also doesn't help that I've got 3 screens that I've got things on. Right, background music, let's put that right down low. And we'll push that up a little bit. We'll get there. And again, it's like I always say, whenever I do live streams and I sort of do them quite regularly, it's so much easier for me. So all I've got to do is push a couple of buttons and I'm good to go. But I really haven't done one of these for, I don't know, 6 months or more, I think. It has been a long, long time. So everything I normally have set up, I've kind of like dismantled, as in the physical stuff, like webcams and speakers and stuff. And obviously the software that I normally use, I've not used that for a while. So whenever I do go to use it, there's always an update and it kind of like resets everything, which doesn't help. Cool, so that sounds good now, because I can hear, so the other thing, I can hear myself in my ear, which, as we all know, we all sound different to how we think we sound. So yeah, so to hear myself waffling is weird. Right, I'm going to turn myself off now, but not to you guys, just to my ear, because I say I can't have me chatting away in my ear. It'll drive me nuts. All right, let's put some music on, because, well, again, I can't paint in silence either. So a little bit of music. I've got absolute 80s. We'll have that in my ear. Right, that sounds good. Bit of S Express. Right, evening, guys, or afternoon, or good morning, or whatever it is where you are. Yeah, I'm John. I'm the miniature hobbyist. As you can tell, I'm really great with technology. When it works, awesome. When it doesn't, yeah, it's a case of pushing buttons off and on again and just seeing what happens. Right, so we'll have a little look at comments, because now I can look at the comments, because I haven't got to keep worrying about everything else. So say, now it works. When I come to do another live stream on Tuesday, because I'm still going to do a live stream Tuesday, basically I've got a couple of miniatures that I'm painting. And obviously I'm doing videos for them both as well. So I've got this guy, which... So this is where I've got such a bad memory, I forget what they're called. So he's a beast boss. Oh, now the screen's froze. Isn't it? Yeah. I'm moving things on my... I'm moving things on my desk. My screen is on the same picture. Right. This is just nuts now, isn't it? So now we got sound, but now my webcam that you're seeing my desk has clearly frozen, because, well, that's not how it looks. I'm holding a miniature up. Oh man. Trust me, I'm a professional. Professional what? I don't know. Right, desk cam. Have I turned you off? What's going on there? Right, so let's do that. Right, no, it's still not come back. Right, so if in doubt, turn it off. Turn it back on again. See, I could work in IT support, me. He says, as I've turned it back on, but it's not come back on. I know generally when I'm doing live streams, I don't get a lot of like painting done, because I talk lots. But in this case, I'm not getting a lot done because, well, it's taking me forever to sort it out. Right, so why is that not working now? So this is the other problem. I've got an old PC and I've got like a gazillion and one things plugged into it. Right, let's check I've not nudged things out. It's like watching paint dry, isn't it? It's, oh, I don't know. Paint drying might be a bit more fun. Right, I'm going to turn the music off because when I turned that on, it seemed to go a bit pants. Right. Nope, still still a black screen. Right, why is the desk camera not working? Only visible on stream. Recording, visible stream and recording. So I don't know if this is worse or not. Now you can't see what I'm going to paint, but you can hear me talking about it, as opposed to seeing me paint something and not hearing me. I'm guessing the not hearing me one would be the better one. Right, desk camera, why are you not working? I must admit, I've been saying for years I need a new PC. And I think maybe now it's kind of like just proved it. Right, so the thing that's out is that. Right. Again, I push several buttons. Will that sound now come through? Oh, someone just said sound, but I've not heard anything. You can hear me now? Oh, okay, cool. Right, we're going to leave it at that. I'm not going to push anything else. I'm not going to try and improve the sound. I will have a go later on, and hopefully it'll all sound better on Tuesday. But for the moment, you can hear me, and the screen froze again. Yeah, so apologies for the tinniness, the echoiness. I think at the moment, yeah, it's going to be better that you can hear something rather than nothing. But apologies that the sound is pants when, well, yeah, it should be better. Right, okay, so again, hi. Yeah, when things work. So when things work, it's awesome. It's all good. But when they don't work, it's like absolute pants. So, yeah, I've got a couple of things I'm going to paint. Obviously, just the one I'm going to paint at the moment, which is this dude. What's he again? He's the Beast Boss. So I've done the usual. I am filming parts of what I do now anyway, so you'll be able to see the full video at some stage. Obviously, usual kind of thing. Primed in black, dry brush grey, dry brushed white. As these are figures that I'm not going to be playing with, that's why I put them on bases. So for anyone saying, oh, he normally puts his models on clear bases, I do. Any models that I play with, I like to put on clear bases because I want to see, well, the terrain underneath. Any miniatures that I make that I'm not going to use, then yeah, I'll stick them on a base and I'll do something with the base just because, well, I think it look nice, and obviously I'm going to try and sell these so someone else can enjoy it and play with it. So yes, I'm going to use him. Oh, now he's a bit out of focus. Right. Let's see if I can get the focus. Again, guys, big apologies to the, well, the sound problems, the video problems, the focusing problems, the problems in me, whatever problems, I apologise now. And we will try and get them all better. Right, have we come back? Yeah, Sledge Painter, you're exactly right. I did push the wrong button. Yeah, I closed something down I shouldn't have closed. It's crazy. Yeah, so what I was saying, I don't know how much you got of what I was saying because I kind of like cut myself off. Dry brushing. Yeah, I've been dry brushing quite a lot because obviously slapchop paint technique is a case of priming miniatures in black, or for me it is priming them in black, dry brush grey, dry brush white, and then go straight in with contrast paints, speed paints, and yeah, get a decent result with very little effort, which is something I love. But yeah, a lot of comments were made on my last video saying about the dry brushing. I can't find where it is, but initially I used to do dry brushing, and I would oh, where's my brush? I would load up a brush and then I would wipe it on like a kitchen towel to get it off. Then I saw some other people saying you shouldn't really do that because it can dry the brush out too much. So then use a bit of like board or something just to sort of rub the paint off, which kind of works a lot better than the kitchen towel. So in my last video, obviously I did that, and then about 4 or 5 people said that there's a better way of doing it, and that was to have a textured board, just because it's easier to get the paint off, and more importantly than that, you can see how much paint is left on the dry brush. So earlier today I made my own textured dry palette, I guess it's called. As you can see, it's got a whole variety of, well, odds and ends. Yeah, using this earlier to obviously get these guys to this standard, and yeah, it worked really well. So it's a case of, obviously I put the paint on, I put it on a nice sort of flattish area, load up my brush, then start doing circular motions to get it off, and then because I've got all these different textures, I can sort of like rub over them, helps get off some more of the paint, but more importantly it lets me know how much is on there, because one of the biggest things when you do this is you get the paint off the dry brush, you do a little bit on your hand and think, oh yeah, that's fine, go to do it on the model and there's loads still on your brush, and obviously the model just gets coated in the stuff, which isn't what you want, because obviously all you want it to do is touch the raised areas. Whereas having the textured dry palette, you can go around and you can see exactly how much is left on here, which it made things so much easier, and you feel a lot more confident when you go to do your first sort of dry brush over, because you know there's not too much on there. I have videoed myself making this. I'm going to say my famous words. Obviously it's quite self-explanatory what it is. It's a plastic box with loads of bits and pieces glued in. Simples. But this is what I like. I like things that are simple, because if I can do it, then anyone can do it. Right, I'm going to turn, I've got myself going off from the ear again, so I'm going to turn that off. Right. Yeah, so having the textured dry palette box thingy really does help a whole lot, especially as I say, I dry brush all the time. So yeah, this is going to be awesome. So I have filmed that. I might make it into like a very small little video, just to show the process of making it and the benefits, which is probably more important than actually showing how to make it, because obviously you make it with whatever you want. It doesn't have to be bits and pieces, it can be bits of balsa wood that are left out, anything you glue and put into a box, yeah, becomes a sort of textured dry brush palette. But say, for me, it's just that knowledge of knowing what's left on my brush when I go to do my first bit of dry brushing, which just make things, yeah, nice and easy. Right, so I'm going to a little shout out, see who's on, because say, apologies guys, I mean I've been going, what, 40 minutes, and I've not really done or said much, so again, big apologies. I've not done a live stream, yeah, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, I've got a memory like a sieve, I haven't got a clue. It was a long time ago, so it was only earlier on that I was digging out the arm to put the webcam on so you could see the table, setting up the other webcam, and just as importantly, setting it up so I can read your comments, because obviously reading your comments, then I can, well, try and answer any comments. But yeah, so I've seen quite a few names sort of like popping up. This is where I need to get new glasses as well. So we've got Sledge Painter, Rockefeller Rolls, DD Lionx. Again, apologies, I am so bad at pronouncing names. Harry Monica, and there was loads of others, but to say I've only got, I had to make the screen big so I can read everything nice and clearly. And then the name there I can't say, but he says it's all good. SRB Skiggralagage, yeah, something like that. Yeah. So yeah, so on Tuesday I'm going to do a live stream at 2 o'clock or 2 PM UK time, and I'm going to paint this dude. So again, I haven't got it down, but I don't know who he is. He came in a big box set. He's kind of like a Nurgle, so I'm really looking forward to doing like flesh tones on him and the bits of armour. So he is going to be fun to do. So I'm going to do him on Tuesday, but I'll be painting him from like start to the very end, which is why that live stream I'll do on Tuesday, say it's 2 PM UK time, and it'll probably go for like 3 hours, 4 hours. It's hard to say. If I was painting him just normally, I'd probably paint him in about an hour, maybe 2 hours tops. But whenever I do live streams, even when they're going well, as in everything working, I do tend to waffle and talk lots, and don't get as much done as I kind of wanted to. Obliterator, thank you Didnox. Yes, that's exactly who that dude is. So yes, I'll be painting him on Tuesday. But yeah, this Beastmaster, got that right, didn't I? Oh, Beast Boss. This is the guy I wanted to paint first. I love orcs, so yeah, I'm always going to want to paint orcs first. Right, I've just noticed it's gone dark outside, so it's now gone dark in here. Yeah, again, say guys, come Tuesday, things will be set up a lot better. The sound will be a lot better because I'm going to get the other microphone working, because I know the webcams aren't the best for picking up sound, especially the ones that I've got, because they're about 2 years old. So definitely not the best to use. But yeah, usual thing when I am sort of getting into painting these guys, I've got another camera here. Because I use just a normal camera, well, a very old camera with a cracked screen or lens. I use that to film. So when I do live streams, throughout the live stream, I'll also be filming parts of what I'm doing, just because obviously I'll be turning that into a video. But this is obviously where I like the fact of, obviously, you guys ask questions throughout the whole thing. If there's anything you want to know about, well, my channel, what I'm doing, or even about me, then yeah, please ask away, and I'll do my best to answer. Again, when it comes to painting, or anything I do on this channel, I am a noob. I'm just your typical guy. I'm sat at a desk in my front room. I don't have a studio, I don't have other people, I've not been painting for years. In fact, I've only really been painting miniatures for the last 7 months because of the slapchop painting technique. I'm just going to try and brighten things. Here we go. I'm going to push some buttons, guys. I want to try and brighten things up because everything looks a bit dark. Fingers crossed I won't push the wrong buttons. But I am going to have a go at pushing the right button, just because, well, it looks like I'm in a scary movie. It looks like it's pitch black around me, and it's kind of not. Oh, that's put a bit too much. There we go. We'll have that, and we can close that down. Oh, it didn't click apply. Maybe I do need someone here. Maybe I need my son. He's only 10, but I reckon he'll be better at pushing the buttons on this than me. Yeah, maybe I need him here to sort of be my my technician, and he can make sure everything's working okay. Right, so that's me a little bit lit up. Whether or not you want me lit up or not, I don't know, but too late. And then desk camera. Let's see if we can light that up and get the focus a little bit better. Would be nice, I guess. And focus. Because I have put this on autofocus before, but the problem there is you can hear the motor inside the webcam going in and out, and it basically just keeps on whirring, which makes things not very good. Right, that'll do. And let's put that there, because I want to start painting. And I'll say, I know I do go a lot slower when I'm live streaming than normal. But yeah, I mean, I've been on for what, 40 minutes, and I've not even, my brush isn't even wet. Right. So, I think everything is okay. Well, I must admit, do you know I was saying earlier on, well, you may have heard it, you may not have, when I was saying that when I was talking, there's a 15-second delay. That was kind of like extreme. Whereas now, I can hear myself 5 seconds behind, which isn't as bad. Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah, didn't know I was pressing buttons again. Good luck. Yes, fingers crossed it did work, and well, I'm still here, you're still here. Again, so this is where I need to get another light, because the light I normally use for my desk, I've currently got half on me, half on the desk. But we'll see how that goes. Right, so let's have a quick look at the chat. Say again, normally when things go well, it'll go well on Tuesday. Throughout me painting, I answer questions, I chat, talk, all the rest of it. I know I've probably missed loads of comments, loads of questions, and I apologise. But we will already get them. What's that? Rossa Small. If I have models that have already been painted, can I repaint in black? I guess it depends on how thick a paint you first put on. I mean, if you can strip models back to being plastic, it's probably best, just in case, because obviously the more layers you put on, you're going to start losing some of the detail. But if you thin your paints, then yeah, you might be able to just go over it again. It kind of depends really, but yeah, if you've got the time, you are always better off stripping them back, just to make it start afresh, keep all that detail really. But Sledge Painter, we hear and see you. Awesome. Right, I'm going to do some painting, guys. I know it's a shocker. Anyone new just joined in, textured dry brush palette, awesome thing. Made it earlier, works a treat, amazing. I filmed it, so there's not really a lot to it, but it's probably more about talking about why this is more beneficial than anything else. And the fact it was lots of you guys in my last video left me comments saying this is what I needed. And you were right. See, I do listen, I do read comments, I do listen to what people say, because that's the thing I love about this hobby. You're learning all the time, there's lots of things to try, and people are always willing to sort of go through and show, explain what they do, and then you can take from that what you need. Sometimes you think, yeah, that was rubbish, and sometimes you think, oh yeah, I liked a little bit of that, but not all of it, or sometimes you think, yeah, I'm doing all of that, I'm nicking that idea. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I'm going to paint this the beast, I forgot what he's called already, Beast Master, Beast Boss, Beast Boss. Cool. I've seen a few pictures, I've got a rough idea of the colours I want to use. Like everything else I do now, obviously you say primed in black, dry brush grey, dry brush white, and then rather speed paints or contrast paints. I've got a few dipping inks. I haven't got any of the Vallejo ones yet, but yeah, using these. And then I am, say, in my last video was the first time I started having a go at trying to do some edge highlighting and some stippling. I love stippling. I just love it. It's really cool. So yeah, we're going to have a go at painting this dude. I think he's really awesome. There's lots of little nooks and crannies that it can be difficult to get the brush in, but this is why I love this technique, because any areas I can't get to with a brush, they're all dark, they're black. So it just looks like it's shading. Which is really good, because that's the other thing I used to worry about, or not exactly worry, didn't really enjoy when painting miniatures, is being able to get into every area. But say, doing a slapchop paint technique, if you can't get to that area, it means it's in a dark shaded area. It can stay dark, it can stay shaded, it doesn't need colour. So yeah, pretty awesome. Radio, cool. Chris Clark just joined. What's the board for? Yeah, the board, I'm going to quickly go through it again before I slap some paint on. The other thing is, guys, just because sometimes I do get distracted and I do get into obviously painting something, if you want to ask me a particular question, if you can put at miniature hobbyist and then type your question, because on my screen it highlights it in I think it's yellow or orange, and I can see it out of the corner of my eye, and I can see that you're asking me a question. Because the thing I love about chat is you guys chat amongst yourselves, or one of you might ask a general question and someone else in chat can answer, which is just awesome. But yeah, if you want to ask me a particular question, if you can put at miniature hobbyist and then write your question on my screen, it comes up big bright, say orange or yellow, can't remember, and yeah, I can see it's for me. So yeah, this is a textured dry palette, and basically what I did, obviously stuck a load of stuff down, that obviously gives it the texture, but then when I come to do the dry brushing, I put a little bit of grey on there, loaded my brush up, rubbed it off, and then the good thing is, when you rub it off, you can rub it on some of the textures to see how much is left on here. So when you go to do your first pass over your miniature, you're not going to like flood it full of colour, because you've just tested it on this. So it's almost like, well, it's a tester piece, which I say, it's so simple but so effective, and that's what I love. I love things that are simple yet game changers, and that's kind of how I see the slapchop painting technique. Right, I'm going to get my sounds a bit rude, I'm going to get my brush wet, because I've been on now 45 minutes, no, 50 minutes. I've done no painting. Oh well. Deep Wrinkles Productions, I love this channel. I love your name. I've got a few deep wrinkles. So yeah, I always apologise for lots of stuff. but I do apologise if I mispronounce your name, because I am pants at names. Unless your name's John, Paul, David, Ringo, yeah, I do struggle with some sort of certain names. So yeah, as you guys may have seen some of my videos, I paint straight from the pot. So I know everyone moans about the Citadel paint pots. I love them. I've never spilt one, mainly because I've always put them in some sort of pot holder. So I've just got like 3D printed ones. A lot of the stuff that I get, like 3D print, I get from Thingiverse because it's free. I like free stuff. So yeah, I get a Thingiverse. So I've got 2 different size pot holders. I've got one, obviously, for the Citadel ones, and it's got an extra bit at the back because that just keeps the lid open. So to knock that over, you'd have to really give that quite a thwack to, well, send it across the desk. So yeah, so that's why I use, obviously I paint straight from the pot with these, because the other thing I don't like doing is wasting paint, because obviously I see every bit of wasted paint as wasted money. So unless I was going to mix 2 colours together, I don't see the need for putting, oh, luckily the lid was on. Oh. I don't see the point of putting these in a palette, because as soon as you put it in the palette, obviously whatever's touching the palette is going to start drying, and sometimes you might put too much. So yeah, so I always paint straight from the pot, just because then I know I'm not going to use too much, I'm not going to waste any that's going to go in the palette, and generally I don't mix paints. I'm trying to think if I've ever mixed paints. Other than black and white to get grey, I've never mixed paints. And what am I doing? Oh, I want this. So yeah, so as much as I've got I've got plastic palettes, I've got a wet palette, I've got 2 wet palettes. Yeah, I don't generally kind of use them that much because, yeah, I'm not mixing paints, so I don't need to. Sledge painting, you love Citadel pots too. Yeah, I loved it, especially because these are great. Because obviously when you put them in the holder, obviously you give it a good shake, but there's like a nice amount of paint in that little sort of scoopy bit on the lid. So you haven't even got to dip your brush right into the pot. You just dip it on that little bit, and it's like, it's quite funny. I was considering buying loads of these pots and converting these into these, just because I love the fact you can take the paint from the top of the lid, which makes it a lot easier than trying to dip it into these. Especially when you get down to the bottom of these, it's like you've got to look into the thing to try and work out how far down you need to go. But yeah. Didnox, you should talk to Gear Guts Mech Shop. He does affiliate stuff with creators and has hundreds of amazing Orc STLs. Ah, cool. Well, there's a guy that I like, Mr. Modulorc. I don't know if you guys have seen him or heard of him, but Mr. Modulorc, well, does orcs. And yeah, I've 3D printed off lots of his stuff just because, well, he's got some amazing orcs, which is really good. Mark, mixed paint, doesn't that count with speed paint medium? Mix a lot. I've never used a speed paint medium. Again, this is where I'm very lucky. I've got a good working relationship with Army Painter, that they send me lots of paints, and obviously this lovely big cutting mat, which you can't buy, but I cheekily asked for one because I'd seen other YouTubers have it, and I thought, oh, I want one of those big ones. And yeah, they kindly sent me one. Although the only problem I've got is, it's just sound really sad, I don't want to get this dirty and I don't want to use it as a cutting mat. So I've actually brought a small little A4 cutting mat to use, well, when I'm cutting, because I just don't want to cut into this mat. I love it. Right, let's give that another shake and let's get painting. Yeah, I need to, oh no, hold on, I'm going to turn the light on because it's getting dark. I am still here, hopefully you can still hear me. Bosh. Yeah, I have got another light, but I need to find the power lead for that, and we'll get that plugged in. Again, today's live stream is almost a muddle through, check to make sure I can do them, because I haven't done them for ages. Anything I need, I can get and make sure I've got for Tuesday, because Tuesday's live stream will be a longer one. It'll probably be a good 3-4 hours on Tuesday, say starting about 2 PM UK time, and then, well, basically it's going to go till I finish the model. So yeah, could be 2 hours, could be 3 hours, could be 5 hours. The way I waffle and talk through videos, it might not even get done, because Tuesdays I play kill team. So Tuesday evenings, got a mate comes over and we play kill teams. So I need to be done by then. So yeah, with these, obviously take the lid off, take that bit off, and then yeah, dip my brush into this. This is where it starts getting a little bit complicated for me, because obviously I normally have one camera in front of me. Well, I say camera, it's a phone. So I normally have one thing in front of me when I'm filming. Sometimes that can get difficult, because I'm like peering over the top, or sometimes I'm peering round the side. But I've now got two, so obviously I've got this thing right in front of me as well. So this is where sometimes when you see me painting something, you're probably thinking, why is he holding that weirdly, or why hasn't he turned it round, or why is he making things awkward for himself? It's because I'm filming me painting, and that makes things awkward sometimes. But hey ho, it's all good fun. So Richard, speedpaint 2.0 dries annoyingly fast. It does dry a lot quicker, yeah, because with the other one, you could put some paint on, get another paint, and then you can almost like merge the two in together. Yeah, the speedpaint 2.0 does dry pretty quick, which has its upsides and obviously its downsides. Ego132, you can take the tops off. Yeah, not only can you take them off, you can put them back on again. Yeah, like I said, I don't like wasting paint, because I see every drop of paint as being pennies or pounds, because obviously these aren't exactly cheap. So yeah, so even though I do get sent a lot of paints, I do still buy paints, and irrespective, I don't like wasting stuff. So yeah, Mark, film up. It is tough, because I say, to get the good angle or shot for you guys to see what I'm painting, it generally goes right where I need to be able to see what I'm painting. But anyway, I'm waffling. Let's get some paint on. Plus, the other thing is, obviously, I've got the lid off. Evaporation. See, I'm seeing paint disappearing as we talk, or as I talk. Right. So yes, I say, I make my videos on a cheap phone. I sit at a desk in my living room, so that's why whenever you see what I'm doing, I'm your typical at-home painter, because, well, I am at home and I'm typical and I'm painting. Right, so let's move that thing out of the way. Right, I'm guessing you guys can still hear me, because I've turned myself off in my ear, just because, well, I'd be annoyed really easy. Right. So that's the other thing, obviously, when I do paint and I'm filming, everything is a lot slower, because obviously I have to think about what I'm doing, as in video wise. So move the camera about, get the focus in the right place, zoom in sometimes, make sure I'm holding it. Sometimes you will see some of my videos as well, I'm painting away, I'm talking away, but whatever I'm painting is like off to the side, or it's up here, or I've chopped its head off. And that's because I sometimes forget that I'm videoing, and then I move it to where it's good for me to see it. Anyway, I'm waffling again. Right, so that looks about there, about there. I think you can still see what I'm doing. So I've got the chat box a little bit over the thingy. Let's turn that just a little bit, so it's back in the centre. Yeah, that's cool, that's cool, cool. Right, so I've been going now 1 hour and 54 seconds. I'm going to do some painting. But say, the upside is when I come to do the live stream Tuesday, I'm not going to touch anything. I'm going to have a little play around with the other microphone, just because, well, it's more pleasant watching something when it doesn't sound tinny or going through a tunnel or all the rest. So right, let's hit record. So what I normally do is I start off, so in my head I've normally got a rough idea of what I'm going to be saying, because obviously I film everything, and then when I come to edit it, I put it all together, and then I basically talk over the top. So anyone that's new to my channel who hears me say the word obviously lots, the reason I'm saying obviously lots is because in my head when I'm talking, it's kind of obvious what I'm doing because you can see what I'm doing. Sometimes I do go quiet when I'm concentrating. So obviously I paint a fair old section and I video obviously all of it. So again, with the videoing, there's a lot of bits I video, and when I come to edit it, I cut them out or leave them out because it's like, well, you don't need to see all of that. But it's best to film more than I need, rather than think, oh, I wish I'd had some video of me doing whatever it was. So in all my videos, I am now going to try and show every colour that I use, just in case anyone sees the paint and think, oh yeah, that looks good. Because that's the other thing with these speed paints, contrast paints. Right, that's enough videoing. Yeah, a lot of them. Which one is it? Oh yeah, this one is a good example. So it's called ochre clay. It looks very light, but as you can see from the lid, because the first thing I did with all the speed paints I got was every lid I took off, I sprayed black, I slap chopped it. I dry brushed grey, dry brushed white, and then painted each lid. So I knew exactly how it would look on the miniatures that I paint, because obviously it's slap chopped. And yes, you got ochre clay, which is looking very light, and in reality it comes out pretty dark. Although to be fair, obviously a lot of these paints, their pictures, you're meant to paint these, well not meant to, but they sort of recommend or sort of see it as you're painting these over a white primed miniature. Obviously my miniatures aren't white primed, they're primed in black and then dry brushed grey and white. So yes, that's why the first thing I did was every lid I did so I could see exactly how each one came out. And like I always say in the videos, some paints work a lot better than others. There's some browns I've got that work really, really nice. But then again, there's some other browns I've got that are wishy-washy. So sometimes it is a case of you just got to try them and then see just how they come out. And then you kind of get used to the ones that you like, and you get used to the ones that you don't really use as much. So these bits on his back, I really couldn't get the dry brush in very well, so it is quite dark. Which means obviously the speed paint that goes over the top is going to stay dark. And again, that's what I love, because it just means that that is a shaded, shadowy area. It's not going to get the sunlight to it. So yeah, it's going to be lovely and dark, which so it just makes this sort of style of painting so easy. But I'm going to move the camera, because I think my hand is basically just in the way, isn't it? So if we go up, and then we can come down. Right, I'm just going to move this over so I can try and get the focus a bit better. So that is the only downside of these webcams. When I had them on autofocus, there's little motors inside, and obviously those little motors move backwards and forwards, and it's surprising how loud they sound. Well, I'm saying I think it's only on the one that's facing me. Again, this is where I say it's been a while since I've done any live streaming, so I need to get everything back. Oh, that's a zoom. Go on that. That's going to be there. Where's the best focus for that? That doesn't seem too bad. Right, we'll go with that. We'll see how that goes. Let's just check I can hear myself and you can hear me. There we go. I think we can still hear each other, can't we? Oh, background music needs to go down, doesn't it? Cool. Again, apologies, I've not really been looking at the comments. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, you're right, Rockefeller rolls. Again, I've not used Streamlabs for ages, and they keep doing changes to it. Yeah, so they've done a change to it where I can't make the picture bigger. All I could do was make it fit to screen. So again, I need to go. So literally, guys, before I came on, about half hour before I came on, I set things up. So I wasn't going to do a live stream until Tuesday, but I had a quick hour or two now. I thought I'd have a go now just to make sure everything's working. So yeah, so one of the things I didn't need to mess about with is the fact of, at the moment, the main screen that you're looking on has been stretched rather than made bigger. Just because it didn't give me the option of making it bigger, other than making it fit to size, which obviously is pretty pants. Okay, let's get some more paint on, because I know I'm not the fastest of painters, but sometimes when I chat lots, I really don't get much done, which isn't bad because it's fun chatting. So I'll definitely get the other microphone sorted, just so it does sound better and not tinny. Or maybe my voice does sound a little bit tinny. So yeah, so this is the thing I really love about the Army Painter. It came with so many greens. So the green I'm using now is Charming Chartreuse. Again, so I'm not very good at pronouncing things, but yeah, it seems pretty cool. Sledge Painter, you saw Bloodbowl Orc token on the textured palette. Have a paint. Oh yeah, well, I've done some Orc miniatures ages ago. Basically, I bought the Bloodbowl, the sort of second edition when it first came out, which is what, a year or more ago. Bought it with the intentions of obviously playing it. Brought it, didn't do anything with it. Lost quite a lot of the miniatures. I painted, or I think I found 3 orcs. So I have painted them. So if you look on my videos, you'll find 3 painted orcs, slap chopped, obviously. And yeah, they've come out really, really well. But I have brought some more Blood Bowl sets because I'm also making a Blood Bowl pitch. There's a couple of videos out so far of that. I've made that the big pitch. I'm just making all the sort of stands and bits that are going around it. But yeah, I mean, generally I kind of have 3 or 4 projects on the go. I like having several things on the go because then if I'm painting one, I need to let it just dry. I can put it to one side. I can crack on with something else because, well, I love making, I love painting, so I generally have several things to do. Miscast, hello buddy. You've come at the right time because if you were here earlier, I was having a right old dilemma getting sound, volume, even sometimes the screen went black because I've not done a live stream in such a long time. But yeah, now I'm painting miniatures. I love painting miniatures. So yeah, guys, definitely say Tuesday, 2 PM UK time. I'll be doing a bigger, longer live stream, and hopefully it'll go well from the beginning, unlike this one. So again, there's some real tricky bits to get into right up and under. But again, if I can't reach them, it doesn't matter because they're dark, they're black. You're not going to see them. They're definitely shaded bits and pieces. Yeah, I'm definitely going to work on, say, the webcam, because it's been stretched. Yeah, the quality of the main desk cam is pretty pants. But again, for some reason, Streamlabs, I might actually delete Streamlabs and then reinstall it, just because it wouldn't give me the options of making the screen bigger. It only do sort of fit to screen, which is why, well, it's stretched it, which has certainly taken the quality away. So yeah, so guys, normally my live streams are better quality, video wise and sound wise. Not necessarily content wise, because I still paint how I paint, but yeah, it would look better and sound better. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to film a little bit now, because something I need to remember to do is the fact that I am filming as I'm doing these videos or live streaming, just so I can turn it into a video. And obviously I want to make a comment, like I've just said then, about the fact that it doesn't matter if you can't reach bits on this, because basically if you can't reach a bit, it means it's not going to be seen very well, and the fact it is dark is good. Right, how did I hold it? Something like that, wasn't it? Yeah, right, so we do that. So again, in my head, I'm roughly thinking what I'm going to be saying when I come to edit this. And I will obviously be saying exactly what I said to you guys, that if you can't see it, it doesn't matter if it stays dark, because, well, it's in the shadows, it's in the recesses. So, yeah, it's all good. So Nova Infused, any tips on contrast fees army painter? It's like I say about a lot of the paints that I use. Some of the paints are really good, as in they do what they say on the tin, and some of them aren't good. And it's the same with Army Painter and the Citadel contrast paints. I wouldn't say I've got a preferred one. Obviously, I'm probably more in favour of Army Painter because I've got more variations in colour with the Army Painter ones. Just like the greens. What have I got? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17. I've got 19 different greens. So out of that 19 different greens, I'm going to find a green that I like, or I'm going to find several greens that I like. So the last orc I painted with Gilly Dew, and this one I am now painting with Chartreuse, yeah. But given the option, my favourite green for painting the orcs is Contrast Plaguebearer's Flesh. Unfortunately, I ran out of this. There was a little bit left at the bottom. I went to pour in some other greens just to sort of like mix it up. Unfortunately, one of the lids popped off when I was squeezing it. That is the one downside I will say with the speed paints. I have mentioned it to the guys at Army Painter, as probably hundreds of thousands of other people. Sometimes the balls in these get stuck in the nozzle. So when you take these off, obviously I don't normally do this, but if you did take it off and squeeze it onto a pallet, sometimes the ball gets pushed up, and if you keep squeezing, you'll pop the end off. And unfortunately, that's what I did when I tried to put some of these other greens in this green. One of the lids popped off. So yes, I can't really use this now, so I need to get another Contrast Plaguebearer's Flesh. But given the choice of any green to use, this is my favourite. It goes on really, really well. It just looks awesome. Well, do you know the two orcs, my last video, obviously this is the new orc. The other orc, it's somewhere else. Right, let's just change something. And yeah, I kind of love the other green, and that's the Plaguebearer's one. So yeah, the Plaguebearer's green is my favourite for orc skin. I just happen to be out of it. Right, let's close that. Yeah, again, apologies. The screen is normally a lot nicer, a lot sharper. It is because I've had to stretch the screen, that it's sort of gone a little bit, well, not the best of quality. Patrick, greens from Germany. Good to have you here, buddy. Nice to have you back. Oh, you've seen me before. Awesome. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done any live streams, which is why there was so many problems setting up earlier. But yeah, so come Tuesday, it's going to be a lot easier because everything's going to be set up. I say I might have a go at deleting Streamlabs tomorrow and then reinstalling it, just because there's a few things that don't seem to be working how they used to. I say one of them is the well, being able to move and adjust the size of well, the screen that you're looking at. Right, there's not really a lot of green you can kind of see on this dude. It's a bit of a shame because that's the reason why I love these, well, green dudes, because they are green. But obviously a lot of this dude is hidden in the shadows. His face is pretty much covered. Oh, there's a bit of a muscle I can just about see. Cool. Yeah, so anyone has just joined, what I was briefly mentioning at the very beginning was something new that I've made and now doing. Obviously everything I paint is slap chopped, so everything gets dry brushed. And my last video there was quite a few comments about dry brushing, because I used to obviously load up my brush. Initially I used to just rub it on a tea towel or kitchen towel, but these kind of dried them out too much. So my last video I used a bit of wood, which worked really well. Again, it does dry out the brush a bit, but it was better than the kitchen towel. And everyone, well, not everyone, there's about half a dozen comments about making up a textured dry palette, and that's what I've done here. So as you can see, it's just a plastic box, and I've glued in lots of bits and pieces, some little tiles here that I made out of foam, and yeah, it works great. Obviously you put a bit of paint in there, load up your brush, and then rub the brush to get it obviously off. But more importantly than getting it off is you can use the texture to see how much is left on, because when you do the dry brushing, the very first time you go to apply some dry brush, or I always feel this, I always have my fingers crossed that there's not too much paint still on it. I mean, I do normally check it on my finger, my thumb, but sometimes there is still too much on there. So when you go do a light sort of dry brush, a big burst of white or grey comes out and smothers your model, and then you've got to like try and rub it off. But yeah, having this textured palette, you can go around the texture and you can see exactly how much paint is left on here. So when you go to your model, it's going to be perfect first time. And for me, it's the simple things in life that make me happy, and this is one of them. And say again, all because you guys left loads of comments about doing a textured dry palette. I'd never even heard of a textured dry palette. And yeah, you all said just glue random stuff down, so there's lots of random bits. I filled in quite a few of the gaps with some gravel, obviously small little gravel, and yeah, it works wonders. I filmed myself using this, so you will see this in the video, but I might make like a short video of this. Obviously it's easy to make because it is just a case of whatever greebly bits you've got, you glue in. And even if you just glue in gravel, bits of MDF, anything, lids, whatever you want, whatever you've got, glue it all down, and then you use that as your textured dry palette. And I say the fact that you can see how much is left on your brush when you're doing it is just, yeah, it's a game changer. Makes things simple. Again, simple, but easy. Steve, last time my lid popped off, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, dry palette, awesome thing. Right, so a quick little drink. Oh, so I've got a few people watching. That's the other thing. Normally when I have things set up, I can obviously see who's kind of like watching, not who's watching, but I can see how many people are watching. Whereas because I've not really got things set up as I normally have them, yeah, I've not known who's watching or how many people are watching. And I've heard you're not a real painter unless you're licking the brush. So there you go. Top tip. If you're not licking your brush, you're not a proper painter. Although it's funny, when I used to do live streams, I almost rated certain paints, as in not the best, but the worst. Because there's some, I can't remember what it was. It might have been the washes, but there's some paints you just don't want to put in your mouth. Not that you should really be putting any kind of paint in your mouth. I'm sure there's going to be some health and safety people out there saying don't do it, because I know we all know what the internet's like for certain people who are certain conscientious people, I say. But yeah, I do my brush sometimes, a lot. Right, I'm going to do, yeah, because the metal bits, again, I've changed, in my last video, it was the first time I changed how I paint metal. I mean, for months and months, I've been going on wishing that Army Painter did metallic paints. They now do metallic paints. They're okay. They're not great. Well, I think they're good paints, but they're not like speed paints. But they cover really well. They look really good. So I do like them as just being metallic paints. But yeah, my last video, all the metal bits I painted in a grey. May have been that one, I'm not too sure. Yeah, grey gold grey. Yeah, so painted all metallic bits in grey, and then went over and did, well, edge highlighting, which is something I've never really done before. And it gave it a really good effect, rather than doing metallic paint and then my go-to used to be just chuck a wash over it, and it'd always look a bit dirty and a bit, well, not as good as it does when you use some grey and then edge the highlights. Rockefeller, have I tried a zenithal approach to slap chop instead of dry brushing? No. No. Probably a couple of reasons really, I guess. One, I've got lots of black primer, no real white primer. Although I have recently been given an airbrush, which I'm going to have a go at using for the first time, hopefully sometime sort of this coming week. Because I've never used an airbrush before, so that should be quite fun. But no, I kind of prefer, I know the zenithal is like the 45-degree angle because that's where the sun's going to be hitting it and it will cause the shadows and all the rest of it. I like the dry brushing. It's nice, it's quick, it's simple. I like how it looks when I've done it. I like the end result when I put the speed paint on. That's one of the big things I always say about painting miniatures. It really is a case of beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Someone might do something and someone else can look at it and think, oh no, that's a bit pants. But other people might think, oh yeah, it looks fantastic. So that's why I do strongly believe in each to their own. But I love this hobby because we do things differently. And it's good to see what other people do, because you might think, oh, I like a bit of what they're doing. I'll copy a bit of that into what I'm doing. And then you almost change what you're doing. Which I think is why I'm getting to the stage now. I've been slapchop painting for the last 7 months. Absolutely love it. But I'm now ready to go out of my comfort zone and try a few different things on top of the slapchop painting. But the main thing is still to enjoy the painting. So when you do something and you don't enjoy what you're doing, then you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. Do you understand? As long as you're happy when you're painting, I mean, that's the main thing. Even if whatever you paint comes out crap, then if you're happy doing it, then great. But I know when I used to paint, as in like a year or so ago, I absolutely hated painting the miniature. From start to end, I hated it. And it looked crap. So, yeah, that's why I never used to paint miniatures, because I just couldn't do it. Whereas now, slapchop gives me the confidence knowing that it's quick, it's simple, it looks, to me, great. I love the look of it. Obviously I know it can be improved on, which is why I'm now, say, trying to do some highlights and stuff. Anyway, I've been waffling on a shed load. I need to get some more paint on, really. Vallejo Express Colour, haven't tried it. I was cheeky. I did write to the company some time ago. They said, yeah, we'll send you some paints, and then never heard any more. So, no. Now, I've used Army Painter, I've got Citadel ones, and the other ones I quite like are Green Stuff World Dipping Inks. This is one of my favourites. Again, they sent me about a dozen different paints. Some of them are a bit like, This one I love, this Radiant Orange, because this comes out kind of like, it's almost got a bit of between yellow, orange and brown. And the good thing is when you put it on, even before it dries, you can put a second coat on to change the colour. That's why there's hardly any left of this, because this one I really like. The other thing I like about this big bottle, same price as this little bottle, or this little bottle. So value for money. Green Stuff World Dipping Inks, yeah, head and shoulder, well, quite literally, head and shoulders above the rest, because you are getting a lot more bang for your buck, as they say in America, I think. maybe. But yeah, green stuff, well, dipping inks. But again, there's some there that I've used, and they come out almost like a solid paint. There's no real sort of variation in any of it. Right, so what am I going to do this for? I'm going to do it on the weapon. I've got a picture somewhere that I'm kind of not following, but so weapon, his arm, boots, jaw. Cool. Right. Yeah. So again, yeah, guys, obviously challenge yourselves. Awesome. Any questions you want to ask me specifically, if you put @miniature hobbyist in your comment somewhere, the beginning or the end, it just highlights it on my screen. Only because if I'm not looking at the screen and I'm painting, and then several people chat, whatever you've asked will go off the screen. So apologies now. It's not because I'm ignoring anyone. I will try and answer any question. It's just a case of sometimes I don't see the question. But yeah, so if you type in @miniature hobbyist, then it pops up on my screen nice and highlighted. Rightio. So again, we'll get my my old my old phone. So the thing with the old phone, it's got a big crack on the main bit, and there's a big old crack over the lens. Still seems to work okay. I have used the webcams to film before, but I found that they just kept, I don't know, the quality wasn't bad. I think it was more the settings. You had to always change the settings, whereas the phone just seems a whole lot easier. Right. So again, in my head, I roughly could be talking about the fact there's not a lot of green on this dude, and we can bring in the new colour into shot. Good old Lord Grey, and yeah, let's start applying this. To say this is one of the few times I do go quiet. This is my concentration face. Not that I concentrate much. But so it's only the last video where I started doing like painting silver grey and then going over and doing the edge highlighting with a silver. Yeah, and I really liked it. Again, that's the other thing about this hobby. It is trying new things out every now and then. As I say, as much as I love slapchop, and that's probably always going to be how I start things off. But then it is then a case of trying to sort of go out of my comfort zone and trying new things. If they work, great. If they don't, then I don't do them. I just stick with what I like and what I do. So, because for me, the biggest thing with this is it is a hobby. It's meant to be fun. You're not meant to get stressed out over it. And if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then clearly you shouldn't be doing that, and try and find something else to do, or a different way of painting. But again, I just love how quick this kind of style of painting is just great. Especially when I say I don't play Warhammer 40k, like the big sort of game. I only play the kill teams. So sort of the max sort of team I'm going to paint up is like 10 or 12 people. But doing something this fast means I can sit down and do 10 or 12 people really quick, which is really good. Call sign Jackal 747. Any tips for making batch miniature assembly less tedious? You got 200 bolt action pans of grenadiers to assemble and paint. Ooh. The only thing I would suggest there is break them down. Do them in batches of 10 or 20. Yeah, do one batch, then go on to the next. Do that batch, then the next and the next. Yeah, it's going to be an assembly line, isn't it? Really, you're doing so many, especially because obviously you want them all done and to be on parade at the same time. Yeah, I think you can only sort of break them down to smaller little groups. But 200. Yeah, so again, that goes on to what I was saying. I think that's why I love Kill Team as well. So not only is it a smaller team to paint, obviously it's a smaller team to actually play with as well, which I love. And even then, my preferred teams are 6-player or 6-man teams. I love 6-man teams. That's why at the moment I'm playing Legionaries. I love them. Love the Legionaries. They're really good, and I've been on a bit of a winning streak the last sort of 3 weeks, which is cool. That might change tomorrow though, because the mate I play with, he's picking a different team to what he normally plays. So yeah, be fun to sort of see. So yeah, normally every Tuesday is when I play a game of Kill Team, and I absolutely love it. Yes, I've been like messing about with Warhammer stuff for about 2.5 years, nearly 3 years. It's only the last 6-7 months that I've actually been playing any of their games. But yeah, Kill Team, such a fun game, and that's why I wanted to get into Blood Bowl as well. Again, smaller teams. Although the Blood Bowl, when I do finish the pitch, it's Blood Bowl 7s. So again, smaller size field and less people. Just because, well, yeah, I like games to be a bit more sort of faster paced and not too much sitting around waiting for the other person to do, well, whatever it is they're doing. And that's why, yeah, Kill Team. I love Kill Team. I think I've got about 11 different Kill Teams. Just because it's obviously fun to try out different ones. Plus, by trying out different ones, it helps you understand their good bits and their bad bits. So when you come against playing them, you kind of know what you should and shouldn't be doing. But yeah, Blood Bowl, Kill Teams, love it. It's all gone quiet. Yeah, so I promise next time I do a live stream, Tuesday, things will be a lot better. So the quality of the screen will be better because I'll work out what I couldn't do today. I'll be able to find out what I can do to make that better, and to say hopefully I'll be able to get the proper microphone working as well, just so my voice doesn't sound so sort of tinny. Yeah, because the other thing I want to try that I've never tried is the old non-metallic metal. I've watched loads of videos on it. Always looks very daunting, but then again, I kind of think most things are daunting before you try it because you just don't know what you're doing. But yeah, so I am looking forward to doing some of that. So that should be fun. Right, just want to check on something. Cool. Yeah, guys, if you haven't already, if you can hit the like button on this video, that'd be awesome. Obviously, if you don't like it, then don't. Although I'd be surprised if you're still here if you don't like it, what I'm doing. But yeah, hitting the like button, sharing the video or any of the other videos, leaving comments on videos is all much appreciated, as it does help out YouTube's algorithms, which then obviously pushes or promotes my videos to people who haven't seen me before, which is all good. Right, I'm just going to try and pull up the picture again to see what there's any bits I've really missed. So the main bits, I say, was the weapon, the jaws, his boots. So the shoulder pad's something different. Just that little gun at the top. Yeah. So what, guys? I've not seen this before. The little dude sitting on his shoulder. What's that? I mean, it's not. Is it a squig, but a very like a baby squig or something? I mean, I guess it must be because obviously it's got like the little body shape and 2 little legs, but it's minute. So is that a squig? So this is the other thing with Warhammer. I don't know any of the lore behind any of the factions. All I know is I like the look of the miniatures. Yeah, so anyone who is sort of new, I kind of stumbled across Warhammer. When I started this channel, I was looking up orcs, but as in orcs with a C. and I went on Amazon because I wanted to get some miniatures to paint up. So I typed in orcs with a C, got a few orcs come up, but then loads more orcs came up that were Warhammer orcs, and they were like, oh, I like the look of those, so I bought them. And yeah, that's kind of how this channel's got into, well, Warhammer really. Yeah, didn't really know about Warhammer prior to me finding those orcs. So that's why I don't know anything about the lore even with orcs, and obviously even less with any of the other factions. I love the look of Space Marines just because, well, they're big, they're chunky, and especially the ones that can have short swords and shields. Just because I used to play D&D many moons ago, well, back in the 80s. So yeah, and my preferred player was either a druid or the opposite kind of thing, a paladin. So yeah, loads of metal or no metal armor. Right, that looks about done. I think we're going to go and do a bit of the furry stuff that he's got on him. Just because I say there's some nice brown. Again, this is what I love about the Army Painter ones. The fact they brought out so many new paints. I've got, what's that, 2, 4, 6? I've got about 14 different browns, which I just love. So it just gives you that option of obviously having lots of browns. So you can do different like backpacks, straps, all kinds of things, different shades of the brown. Again, that's why I generally paint from the pot, because there's no need for me to put this in a palette, because I'm never really going to mix it with any other colours. And I say, it never really happened with the Army Painter Speed Paint 1.0, or whatever it was called, but the Speed Paint 2.0, you do need to be careful. When you shake this and you go to squeeze some out, the balls do get stuck quite easily in the top. And if you keep squeezing, you will pop your load. Luckily I've not, well no, I did do it, but I popped my, I'm going to use a different word. I popped the lid off and it all went into this bottle. But obviously if I'd been doing it into like a palette, yeah, it would have shot in the palette and just gone everywhere. So yeah, that's another good reason for painting out of the pots. The balls in these do get stuck very easy, and I know Army Painter are aware of that. Well, because I mentioned it to them some time ago, and they mentioned they were aware of it. So it's a case of you've got to keep shaking it, hear the ball moving lots. But again, even when it's moving freely, you tip it that way, gravity's going to pull the ball down. So I don't know if they're going to like work on a new design for the ball or a new design for the nozzle. I'm not sure. I don't know, and I'm waffling because I wouldn't have a clue. Right, so we'll put that one back because I finished with that one, haven't I see orange, my name. Call sign. If memory serves, that squig on his shoulder helps with gun aiming. Oh yeah, well yeah. 'Cause I must admit, I've seen a picture of it, and the eye on the little squig does have almost like the thing you'd see through like the old scope, like the sort of like little circle with like the little lines on it. But yeah, it's just I've never seen, well, a squig so teeny tiny as that is one teeny tiny squig. Right, I just thought, what is the actual time? 10 past 11. Okay, yeah, I've probably got a good half hour left, I reckon, and then I might have to go. But say tonight's sort of little live stream was quite an impromptu one. It was really just so I could check, well, check I knew what I was doing. And if you were here from the beginning, you'd have clearly seen I had no idea what I was doing, because 1 minute I had no sound, then I had some sound, then I had no video. I don't think I ever had no video or sound. I think it was always one or the other. But say, yeah, I do need to get the other microphone or the proper microphone set up, just so I don't sound tinny, and sort out the main screen just so it looks, well, a better quality screen rather than it being stretched, which is kind of what it is now. Alright, so I'm going to paint the brown, and I reckon that's probably as far as I'll get with this dude. Yeah, I mean, my plan was to paint this dude earlier on today, get him done, and then put a video out tomorrow. Because I wanted to check the live stream. Plus, so what I might do, it'll only be a short little video, just talking about the benefits. I say, because this is something I didn't know about until yesterday when I started getting lots of comments about making a textured dry brush palette. Even though I've been doing dry brushing for the last 7 months, because obviously slapchop method, everything's dry brushed, and I've been doing it for 7 months. It was only in my recent video a day or two ago that several people, say it was about good 5 or 6 people, mentioned doing a textured dry palette. Yeah, I'd never heard of it, because obviously I'd always got my dry brush, wiped it into a kitchen towel, and then in my last video I was wiping it on a bit of board. But yeah, this thing is just awesome. Again, it's more for seeing just how much paint is left on your dry brush. Plus earlier on I was actually having a little experiment, because obviously this is then dry brushed. When you're using a coloured paint you've not used before, you can test it out on this, which again just makes having this, yeah, it's the simple things in life that make people happy. This is very simple, but this is just an awesome thing to have, which is why the more I think about it, the more I will do a video on this, even though it is such a simple thing. I think more people need to know about it, because I didn't know about it. And again, it's like this Grizel painting. It's been around hundreds of years. It's all well and good, but I only found out about it 7 months ago, and I'm sure a lot of other people have only recently found out about slapchop painting and this style of painting, how easy it is and how enjoyable it is. But there we go. Yeah, like I say, Grey Tooth? I don't know. Tooth? Grey Tooth, yeah. Artist Opus. He was one of the people that I saw, and it was Brent from Goobertown. I think they were the two that I'd seen who said don't use tea towel. So that's why I then used a bit of wood, thinking, oh, I'm getting better now. I'm using a bit of wood rather than a tea towel. Only to be told, yeah, he's telling me the bit of wood's not much better. Oh, and the other thing I was told, which I haven't done yet, which I might explain in the video, your dry brush should be a little bit damp, which sounds really weird. But then I watched a few videos today, and a few of them say it's meant to be damp. Again, I've not got one. I need to look and sort of buy one. It's like a little sponge with a bit of water on it, and you just dab this onto the sponge. So you're not really getting it wet in any kind of way. It really is just getting a very small amount of wetness, and then you do the dry brushing bit, as in putting it on here and all the rest of it. And it just helps having that little bit of, I don't know what the right word is, wetness, dampness, I don't know. But yes, I need to look into one of these sponges, because it was called a name. I only watched the video earlier on today, but I've forgotten what the name was already, because I can't remember toffee. But yeah, again, so keep it, and several people in my comments mentioned that in a video the other day, about the dry brush. You should get it wet first, before applying the paint, before rubbing it off, and then applying it. Oh yeah, the main reason for doing it is you get a smoother dry brush. So sometimes when I dry brush, it can look a little bit chalky, a little bit dry, because it is dry brushed. But you can dry brush in a way that it doesn't look chalky, and that's why getting the brush a little bit wet first. Dampening pad, thank you, Grey Tooth. Yes, this is where I hope what I say does make sense, because I do talk in layman's terms. I don't know technical terms for hardly anything. But I think this is why some people kind of relate to me, because I'm talking their language. Sometimes gobbledygook, sometimes just waffling. But yeah, I don't know all the technical terms. I just know sometimes I need to do something in a certain way. And that was it. Yes, so dampening pad. Cheers, Grey Tooth. Thing is though, this is where I need to write it down, because I know in 10 minutes time I'm going to be like, what was that thing called? I might even say, what was that pad called? Dampening pad. Yes. Artist Opus sells those. See, the problem is, as much as people might like it or don't like it, Amazon. I buy everything from Amazon. Other than Tesco's. I go to Tesco's for a food shop. Everything else, Amazon. Clothes, shoes, Amazon. I love Amazon. They deliver stuff to my door. Right. I am going to do a bit of, which again, so sometimes having loads of choice is great, but then sometimes it's like, which one do I go for? I'm going to go for this one. I haven't really used this one much, so I'm using Warrior Skin, even though I'm going to do this on the furry bits. But again, whatever I put on this, I'm going to have a go at doing some edge highlighting. Ooh, check me out. So I know some terms. I'm going to have a go at doing some edge highlighting afterwards. Yes. Richard, I damped my dry brushes, makeup brushes, by the way. Well, that's what I used to use, was dry brushes, makeup brushes. But again, Army Painter. They sent me some of these dry brushes. So that's why I'm using them. But yeah, I was using makeup brushes because they were, again, Amazon. I think like a pack of 12 for about £6, and then like a big old variety of small ones, medium ones, and then huge ones. But you simply dab in your wet palette. Yeah. Oh, I could do that actually. I've got a wet palette. Well, I like the idea of getting a dampening pad because when I saw one, it was like a small little thing, and it just looked good for, yeah. So I'll have a little look. Although it's going to come down to how much it costs. If I can get a dampening pad for £8 or under, then I'm going to buy one. If I can't, then I might just buy a sponge, cut it, and then put it in something, and then use that. But hey ho. Right, enough waffle. Let's. So I want to use this brown. Oh yeah, we'll use this brown. If I don't like it, I can just paint over it, I guess. This is where, say, on my desk, or not on my desk, but above my desk, I've got obviously a light, 2 cameras, as well as a little TV screen with another web camera. Rightio. So this brown, I'm just going to use on the furry bits. Yes, I'm going to film this bit, and then I'm probably going to call it then. So yeah, so cheers guys for watching, because I know the sound quality is pants. Trust me, the sound quality will be better next time, as will the quality of the video, because I might have to delete Streamlabs and reinstall it, because for some reason normally when you click on a certain object it gives you like the little red dots, so you can like make things bigger. Sorry about that, keep doing that. Make things bigger, smaller, resize it basically. Well, for some reason when I'm clicking on items, it's not letting me change them in any way other than by, I think it was right clicking, and then it just said fit, or something to fit. Fit to trim, trim to fit. Fit. Ah, I can't even think. Say, brain's gone dead. Right. Let's have this camera up high, I think. It's always nice to change the view. Plus, it being up here, it's out of my face. I can see what I'm doing, which is always good. Right, that one's filming. Just got to make sure I don't bang it with my head. And let's have a go see. This is quite a light brown. If I get enough on my brush. But yeah. So it's always nice to try out different browns, just because there are, say, some just work so much better than others. This one is definitely a light one, although it does say it's warrior skin. So obviously it's a warrior that's been out in the sun to get this kind of nice colour to him. But yeah, I quite like this. Yes, okay, guys, I don't know if you're about on, say, Tuesday. It'll be 2 o'clock UK time is when I'm going to start the live stream. And that one should be about 3 hours, 4 hours long, I would have thought. I'm basically going to paint a miniature from start to finish. So again, it kind of all depends on how much waffling I'm doing. But tomorrow I'm going to make sure everything is working a-okay. Cool. Alright, we can turn that one off, because then I can stop and have a little thing. What's that? Walrus Eater. First time seeing your face. Ah, oh, sorry buddy. You're right. You need to sit down. and I look different than I imagined. How old are you? I'm old. I am 55 years young. Been in the hobby, painting miniatures, last 7 months. I've had this channel a good 2.5 years, but most of the things I was doing was like making things, building things, making like small dioramas and like scratch building sort of stuff. So yes, it's only the last 7 months I've really been painting, and that's all because of this technique, the good old slapchop paint technique. Because prior to that, I hated painting miniatures, as in I hated every minute of painting one, and then when I did paint it, it looked pants. Plus, when I say painting, I would spend at least 2-3 hours painting a miniature. So it was 2-3 hours of just not enjoying myself. I think part of it was because I knew the end result was going to look bad, and then it didn't matter if I spent 3 hours on it or 6 hours on it. It wouldn't get any better. If anything, it'd only get worse, because obviously you're then getting more layers over things. So yes, I absolutely hated painting miniatures when I first started this channel. And then, was it 6 months ago, I saw the video about slapchop painting, and that just changed everything for me. Overnight, I went from hating it to absolutely loving it, which is why now my channel has kind of really gone quite heavily now towards painting miniatures, just because I love it. And it helps that I got into playing Kill Team as well. So about the same time, I started playing Kill Team when I started slap chopping. Well, I think because if I hadn't have come across this painting technique, I probably wouldn't be playing Kill Team, because there's no way I would want to paint sort of like 6 to 10 miniatures for like one kill team, let alone to get another kill team made. The thought of painting that many miniatures, I would have never played the game. I think prior to say 7 months ago and doing this, I think I might have painted about 4, maybe 5 miniatures in the space of about 2 years. The problem is that I wish I'd kept them. I moved flats about 6 months ago, and I've got a feeling all the old miniatures that I painted I threw, which is a shame, because I'd have loved to have kept them, just to show you guys just how they looked. And well, I could have done a video on how they looked, but then I could have stripped them back to grey plastic and then repainted them this way, and then done like the old side-by-side comparison. That would have been quite good. But alas, poor Yorick, I think I threw them out. I think I had a bit of a spring clean. This actually come out darker than I kind of first thought. To be honest, I quite like it. So you can tell when I'm concentrating, all goes a bit quiet. Right. I want to say I think that's all the bristly bits done. Although I normally find some when I go on to painting something else. But again, this is why, another reason why I like painting straight from the pot. Because say I had put some of this in a palette, and then I went on to a different colour. By the time I sort of start painting and see that I've missed a bit in this original colour, the paint in the palette would have dried, and I'd have to put more paint in. And I say I don't like wasting stuff, because to me every bit you waste is money. Even though these paints were kindly sent to me by Army Painter, I still see it as wasting money, which I don't like. Right, well guys, cheers for sticking with me, so especially right at the beginning, because it took me nearly an hour to to get things sorted. Again, I'm going to get the lighting sorted as well, because I've got another big light which I need to get done, because the light that's currently illuminating my face, albeit just a little bit because I'm still in the shadows, is the light that's normally on my desk or facing my desk. So that's the other reason why the quality of the main camera is a little bit poor, because this area is normally lit up a whole lot better. But say come Tuesday, it will be better quality video and better sounding, Say I've not done a live stream in, I don't know, 6 months, 9 months, whatever it's been. It's been quite a while. So a lot of the settings I used to have all disappeared. So it's like starting afresh. So it will be better next time. But yeah, cheers for staying with me. So there'll be a video out tomorrow, guys, where I'm going to show obviously the making of the textured dry palette, which in itself is obviously simple because you make it with whatever you've got to hand. But I think it's more, you're going to hear there's going to be a lot of excitement in my voice because I just think this is another game changer for me, especially with the fact of every miniature that I paint. So this is the guy that I'm going to be painting on Tuesday. Every miniature I paint is slap chopped, which means every miniature gets dry brushed. Even like vehicles I dry brush, wall panels I dry brush, the Kill Team space sort of set board I've made, dry brushed. So I've dry brushed a lot and I was doing it wrong. Well, not necessarily doing it wrong, there was just a better, easier way of doing it, and having a textured dry brush palette is certainly one of those. So the big reason being, you put your paint on, you can rub it off, but as you're rubbing it off, you can still see how much paint is on there because obviously you're rubbing it over texture, which means when you come to put it over your miniature, you know exactly how much is on there and how thick it's going to come out and how good it's going to look straight away, which is just awesome. Cool sign. Any advice for making flight stands for flyers? I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that. I mean, I'm guessing the flight stand, you want to make something that keeps a miniature or a plane off the ground. I don't know. Again, if that is what you mean, I'd be looking on Amazon for some clear plastic flight holders. I'm not too sure what they're called, really. Walrus, missed the beginning, where did I get the pallets from? Well, this pallet, this was a plastic box, or small plastic box. Took the lid off, quite clearly, and then just stuck a load of greebly bits down. I made some tiles out of like foam sort of board stuff, and then filled in lots of the gaps with some small little stones, little gravel. But yeah, so the textured dry palette is basically you make it out of whatever you've got lying around the house. You just stick in any bits. But so I've got a box of like greebly bits, so basically all kinds of bits and pieces. I've had it in the box for a good year, so the chances of me using them are relatively slim, which is why I didn't mind sticking them in here, because obviously they're just going to stay in here now. But yeah, this is just awesome for doing the dry brushing. And I say it's great for if you get a new sort of speed paint. I say because sometimes the picture on the outside isn't exactly how it looks, because I say all the lids on my speed paints I've painted primer in black, dry brush grey, dry brush white, and then put the paint on it so I can see pretty much how it's going to look. But again, putting it on here is really cool, and more so probably for the Citadel paints, because obviously I've not done anything with the lids. So as much as you can see what the colour looks like, sometimes when that goes over the speed painting sort of look, slap chop look, it can look a little bit different. So again, this dry palette is a great way of testing your contrast paints to see exactly how they're going to come out and how they're going to look on your miniature before you paint it, which is awesome. So yeah, guys, I'm going to end it there. Again, many thanks for sticking with me, especially as lots of problems earlier on. So don't forget, Tuesday 2 PM UK time, I'll be back. It'll be a lot better, a lot quicker, and I'm going to paint, say, this dude, and I'm going to paint him from start to finish, as well as hopefully doing all edge highlighting, stippling, and anything else I can think of. Oh, I've seen some nasty little lines there. I need to file them away. Normally, obviously, I do as much as I can scraping away any mould lines, sprue bits when I'm assembling, but sometimes you miss them until you do a bit of dry brushing, and then yeah, I can see them badly, so I'm going to get rid of them. Anyway, waffling. So I'm going to be painting them Tuesday. So tomorrow there should be a video out, probably 2 PM UK time seems to be a good time for me. So if you're about 2 PM tomorrow, you'll hopefully see a short little video, won't be too long, about an old man getting very excited about his textured dry brush palette. Anyway, I'm going to keep waffling. I need to go. You guys all take care. Again, thanks for being here.